You have entered into the black hole of real estate, a place for industry news, tips, and strategies. Once you enter into our vortex, even if you could leave, you're probably going to want to stick around. I'm your host, Ron Weiss-Sikarski, and you are now entering the black hole of real estate. Well, it is great to be back with our first episode for 2021, and as we look into the future, we've got some interesting things that are going to take place with the real estate market. Interest rates are going to be talked about today, where the inventory is, and what's that crystal ball looking like as we head into 2021. Now, the first thing that I see in front of me is another record low interest rate report has just come out today. And this looks to be more than just a trend. There is a lot of downward pressure on interest rates to keep this market going. This economy needs to continue to be jump-started as we go into a bit of uncertainty as to what is actually going to happen. We have concerns, whether it's vaccines and are they going to work, and it's two parts, and how does it get implemented, and what is going to happen with the new PPP, the forgiveness of the old PPP, and what's out there for small business as we face reopenings and lockdowns in different states. I mean, it's just a crazy mix right now. So interest rates are going to be a big thing in a small way as far as the rate, probably for the entire year. And the reason behind that is they need to keep enough liquidity in the market and people purchasing homes, because it involves like 40, 50 different contractors or businesses, so to speak. Something has to fuel this economy as we hopefully emerge from, I mean, this COVID thing is, it's been around for about a year, and I know that we've adapted and we've moved on in the best ways that we can, but a lot of states are nowhere near reopening and still in a great state of semi-lockdown. Not every state is as open as Florida. We'll see how this plays out. What does interest rates being low mean to you? Well, a couple of things. If you're a seller, it means that buyers can pay more because their monthly payment is going to be a little bit lower. So in that case, that protects the housing values. And when we're seeing the housing values continue to go up, there's only a couple of things. Affordability has to be there. Interest rates are a big component of that. And then, of course, there's the inventory piece, which, we'll talk about in just a little bit. What I see going forward is with low interest rates and higher purchasing power, there's still that opportunity for buyers to get a great rate over the next, whether to get a 15-year mortgage or a 30-year mortgage or something in between. You're locking down some historically low interest rates, and as inflation sets in and changes come over time, that rate's going to look better and better in the future. If it's at 3% or 2 point something right now, I don't know that it's going to get down in the ones and get cut in half. It's going to be a good rate protection for the foreseeable future. So if you have a mortgage right now, fantastic at that rate. If you haven't, a lot of people are still refinancing to get to those rates. And if you're purchasing that next home or that forever home, this really locks in a lot of cost certainty for you. And it appears to be a good bet. If you're doing investment properties, it's cheap money. It's the best leverage piece that you can find right now. So if you're purchasing with mortgages for your investment property, lock that in. If you're buying them with cash, a lot of people are actually refinancing those after doing some renovations using things like the BRRRR method. Those are also would appear to be very sound strategies, things that I would endorse right now. So that's a little bit about the interest rates, because it is playing such a big role in this housing market that we're in right now. What's interesting, and we'll transition here into talking about what's going on. Well, I can tell you in the Daytona Beach market, there's been almost 180 new listings since the first of the year that have hit the market. 74 homes have gone under contract in the last 7 days. So does that mean there's 100 extra homes to choose from? Well, possibly. There's 74 in the pending category, but when you look at the active contingent and contingent, there's another almost 115. So we actually are in a negative situation as far as inventory, because 178 have come on the market and almost 200 have either gone under contract in some way, shape, or form. What does that mean? It means that sometimes you're losing so slow you feel like you're winning. And yes, there's more listings out there, and yeah, a bunch went under contract. It's a super robust market, and if you take those numbers and you apply them over the month, we could be looking at 700-800 pendings and properties going under contract, I should say, in a month. That would be gigantic when we're seeing numbers like in the 500s for this time of year. So a lot of those closings will happen over February and March. They may get distributed a little bit, but when you look at raw numbers, it's exciting to see more listings coming on the market, and buyers are eating them up really fast. So as we continue to move forward, I do believe we'll see more inventory hit the market because there's excitement among sellers. They realize that they've gotten through the holidays, they believe that they've weathered the storm, and they're getting more comfortable in the environment that we're going to be in for a while health-wise. A lot of people are ready to move, and selling a home is a big portion of it. Let's face it, not everybody can buy your next home before selling the one that you live in. So that's going to be continued piece. I wish I can tell you it was new news. It's just continuation of the news we've been talking about for months and months and months right now. What is the end in sight? Well, I mean, I don't know. It would probably have to look like last January when we were crushing it with record numbers. What does the crystal ball look like for 2021? I think the market continues to thrive. People continue to want to move, whether they're moving across town or across the country. Florida is absolutely a destination. There's a whole landscape of people that are looking for more space or getting a little more rural, but we also see people buying beach properties and buying condos. So I think it's more that people continue to want to move to states like Florida and less about if they're trying to distance themselves. I believe we all want to think that that distancing thing is maybe not as urgent in 2021 as we get to the second half of the year, perhaps, than it was in 2020. Who knows? But I see this. People continue to want to move to the state of Florida. That's just a fact. It continues to be. And that will continue to put pressure on the housing sectors. New construction continues to boom. And we see great backlogs of some homes, being purchased, and pick out your lot could be 6, 8, 10, 12 months down the road. And the inventory that is available, those move-in homes, those go pretty quickly. Not everybody wants to wait that long. And there's a piece of that puzzle involving interest rates. If you're purchasing today on a ready-to-go home, you get today's interest rate. If you are purchasing a home to be built, you float an interest rate in most cases throughout the next 6 or 12 months. And if you feel that rates may trickle up a little bit and go from 2% to 3% or 4% by the end of the year, that can make a dramatic difference in the price that you're going to pay. Now, that isn't to say buy today or buy tomorrow. It's information about what happens along the way. So if you're in that process, make sure part of your conversation about your financing is, can I lock in the rate, and how does it differ if I'm purchasing today and the rates are 2.5 or 3 or something like that? Can I lock it in first of all? And if I can, is it a 30-day lock? Is it a 6-month lock? Is it a year? And do I have a higher interest rate to guarantee that rate a year down the road? The bank is probably gonna hedge on that, so you're likely to have a higher rate 12 months down the road. So what if you were able to lock in for a whole year? And I'm not sure anybody does that anymore, but if they would, you probably wouldn't get the same 2 or 3% that you'd get if you were closing in 30 days. It would probably be a higher amount for the banks to hedge against any market movement on interest rates. So that's a piece about the interest rates. So new construction, I don't see anything to stop that. I think that inventory and sellers will increase. Sellers will come on the market and start to level the playing field as far as the amount of available properties versus the number of properties that are being sought by buyers. I don't think there's any lessening of the amount of people that want to move. I think that just continues to move because it's coming from all areas of the country. What else do we see? Not as much flipping out now right now, because the prices have gotten to the point where it's getting a lot harder actually, to find homes to purchase and flip, and then to have an available market for it. I don't know that we're going to see any drop in price in the next year, but there's always concern that if you're flipping, can you get caught in the middle? You're purchasing at 200, you're putting 80,000 into it, and you want to sell it in the 300s, and that's fantastic. If there's a market movement or something that takes place where somebody sells for just a little bit less, that could impact the flipping side of things. It's still alive and well, but I believe you're seeing some really high-end finishes. There's not a lot of clean it, paint it, and put it back on the market going on. There's a lot of high-end finishings going into the current batch of flips that I see out there, and not only do I think it's a trend, I think it's great. I think it makes neighborhoods look a little bit better. I think it looks the inventory look a lot better. It's a good move to hold price points and protect the equity that all the homeowners have. So right now, I believe it's a great part of the market. The last thing I would say is that if you are looking for investment properties, a lot of the Airbnb and short-term rental types, they've suffered a little bit in the last year. And I would be interested to see if some of those go, and I'll put the air quotes up there, on sale. That might be an interesting play as well if you're looking to invest in real estate. There's so much on the board right now. My predictions are a strong market for 2021. But I'm going to say 2020 actually was a better year than 2019. In most areas for sales, it may be tough to top. We'll see how that plays out. Hope you're enjoying the podcast. I would love to have you subscribe and listen in. And if you have any questions or comments, love to hear that. We look forward to catching up with you next time on the Black Hole of Real Estate.